Explain the following. The importance of changing superpower policies in the Middle East for attempts at a solution of conflict in the Middle East. 8 marks. The importance of Yasser Arafat's speech to the UN in 1988 as an attempt to reduce tensions. 8 marks. This is the mark scheme for this question, which you can find out about in more detail in the overview video. 8 marks here are awarded for AO2, which is your analysis of consequence and significance. So that requires you to take the first element of the question and think about what is important about it in relation to the second element of the question. Making those links between the two different elements of the question is how you are analytical and how you score highly for AO2. 8 marks are also awarded for AO1, which is your knowledge and understanding of the topic. So you need to be bringing in evidence from your own knowledge to support your argument for this question. These are the bands for this question. Again, you can find out about these in more detail in the overview video. But generally, to do well in this question, you need to be analytical. And that really comes down to making clear links between the importance of the first event on the second event, so the two different elements of the question. You should also have a clear line of argument so the examiner can see really clearly what you're trying to get across. Your structure should also be quite easy to follow, so try not to go off on too many tangents. Keep it as relevant and focused as you can. Also on AO1, you should be bringing in relevant details from your own knowledge to support what you're trying to say, so using that evidence from your existing understanding, really just to demonstrate to the examiner that you know what you're talking about. Now, there are many points you can make when answering both of these questions, so as long as what you say is relevant correct, the examiner will award you the marks. But let's take a look at an example. So for the first question, one important point could be the end of the Cold War. But you need to explain that. You need to explain how that links the changing superpower policies in the Middle East to the attempts at a resolution of the conflict. So to make that link, you can talk about how the weakened and the collapsed eventually USSR became decreasingly involved in the Middle East because they had less interest in expanding and maintaining their influence because they had other economic and political pressures. The USA, on the other hand, emerged as the powerful side and exerted its influence by intervening in the Iraq-Kuwait crisis and later pressurising Israel to negotiate. So you can see there, we've gone into quite a lot of detail. You probably wouldn't need to go into that much detail, but it just shows you that you can use evidence from your own knowledge to support your points and really explain that importance, which essentially is what they're looking for in this question. You're trying to explain the importance and how that links the two elements of the question. The same applies for this question. So you could use the example of the UN resolutions, maybe looking particularly at UN Resolution 242, for example, in which he agreed that Israel's right to exist with secure borders and that Israel had to withdraw from territories occupied in the Six-Day War. And then you can explain a little bit further the implications of that. But again, you're making clear to the examiner that you've thought about the importance of the speech and linked it to the attempt to reduce tensions. Make that as clear as possible to the examiner because that is what they're trying to get you to do. Take a look at the other examples here to see if there's anything else you could have added to your answer.